Welcome to Purpose by Design with Dr. Pamela Henkel, a platform for people to share their stories, a place where change and healing can begin. Dr. Pamela stands on the fact that we are here on purpose, with a purpose by design, and not by default.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Purpose by Design podcast. Dr. Pamela back again. And it's New Year's. Well, it's beyond New Year's. We're already into January. Oh, my goodness. And today, my dear friend, assistant, publisher, the list goes on and on. Dr. Nichol is with me in the house today. Hello, Dr. Nichol.
Hello.
So excited that you're here. I'm glad you guys are all here and you're in for a treat today. I know that Dr. Nichol was with me a few weeks ago and we were talking about getting through the holidays, and we just sort of ended on how to be preparing for the new year. And I really wanted to jump in and take that a little bit further. But before I turn Dr. N loose to, that's what I call her, Dr. N, letter N, not like end, but Dr. N. Before I turn her loose, I just want to share a little bit about her. So we go way back. We go many years back. And when we began, I was senior pastor at Victory, and she came in and was not just a worship leader, although she did lead our worship. She stepped in as admin, and she stepped in so many different areas to help serve and to help with women's events and all kinds of things. And I'll let her share some more of that. But what happened was there was a bond that was created between her and I. And that bond was created, honestly, because I earned her trust and she earned my trust. I had trust broken by many people that came in to say, I want to help you, but they had ulterior motives. They had other motives, and it didn't always end well because their motives really weren't to be Timothy's. And Timothy in the Bible is somebody who came alongside the Apostle Paul and was like, I'm just here to serve in whatever capacity I can run with you. And then what did God do? He then rose Timothy up and put him in leadership because Timothy was called, number one, but Timothy was willing to run with Paul and serve. And there's a book out there called In Search of Timothy. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to find it. I use it at the Bible college to teach out of about servanthood and about leadership and about servant leadership. And Dr. Nichol she just embodies that. She has come along with me not only in that form of ministry, but as I stepped out of being a senior pastor and into coaching, mentoring, authorship, and so many other things that the Lord had us doing, women's ministry together. She has partnered with me in ministry through her ability, all of her gifts. But all along the way, it's been, how can I serve? How can I help? How can I run with you? How can I uplift? And it's been such a blessing to me. I know that Purpose by Design, Purpose with Pamela, and even the ministry that God has given to me through Living Word Christian Center, that so much of that has come to me because of all the undergirding and the support that Nichol has poured into me over the years. Fa La La, Las Vegas, you name it, all the different things that we have done together. She has been a support. Beyond that, I was able to be a mentor. She has other mentors, but I have been able to mentor her. And I say that because when I have shared something with her, she does it. In fact, we just had a conversation not too long ago where I was able to share something that the Lord I felt was giving to me for her. And she was like, yep. Okay, I received that. I'm going to do that. I have watched God move her from glory to glory, from level to level, to the place that she is at today, where she has a full-fledged publishing business. Oh my gosh, what God is doing in her and through her. She is resurrecting her podcast, which is going to be amazing. So I'm sure she'll chat a little bit about that. When you see somebody that has walked the talk, it deserves to be highlighted and it deserves to be honored. And so as Dr. Nichol and I are talking about what God has for us in 2026, oh my gosh,
Right.
And I look back at how many years and where we were and where we are, and how you, Nichol, not only have embraced, like God gave you that tagline for this year, which came years ago, so much more. We were talking about that. What's the promise that God is stirring in your heart for this year, that he wants you to like see 2026 through that lens? And we were originally just going to talk about that, but God just really ministered to my heart that the reason we can expect these things is he's a good God, but he also gives us things to do. And he doesn't judge us based on our works, but faith without works is unproductive, right? It's dead.
Yeah. Yes.
And he doesn't bless us based on our obedience, like, no, because salvation is free. The gifts are given without repentance. But there is something to be said about faithfulness. And you have been faithful to God by doing what he's asked you to do. I'm highlighting what he's asked you to do for me in this podcast, but I know you've been faithful to run not only with me, but with others. But as you have been faithful, he's just like door open, door open, door open, door open, which of course has been my prayer. Oh, God bless her, right? And now here we are. 2026 is here, and doors, boom, are opening for you. And it would have been enough with all of your experience and wisdom to say, how are you running with, I'm looking this way because I wrote down your tagline, how are you running with that promise of so much more? And have you share. But to me, I would be doing everybody a disservice to just have you say, well, Bob Proctor says, well, Pamela, you've taught me this. Well, the Bible says. But it would be doing a disservice to not have you share the value of faithfulness, because I truly believe in that God promotes due to our faithfulness as well, that's a part of it, because it helps make us ready. So anyways, saying all of that to say, Nichol, would you share and take your liberty from that point?
Well, first of all, good grief. wasn't expecting all that. It's very odd to hear anybody talk about me that way. I remember when we had to write a bio for the first thing that I wrote in, and you helped me write it, and you sent it to me, and I was like, okay. Because it's weird to see that in front of you. And you realize that, yes, okay, these are the things I'm doing. These are the things that are happening in my life, right? But to see it in black and white, literally, it's like, okay. And now, I mean, I need to redo it again. I think I've redone my bio over the past 5 years. I don't know how many times, but now I need to update it again because things just shifted again, which is amazing. But going way back, I mean, 2011, 2012, probably 2012 is when we started coming to Victory, which was the church that you were at. And never would I have imagined being here, for sure, in the situation that I'm in, owning not one publishing company, but now a publishing house, co-owning a publishing house. And that was not even in my wildest dream. I mean, that wasn't on my vision board. That wasn't a thing originally, ever. Going places, doing things. Yeah. Okay. But that was not like a thing. And, like we talked on the last podcast about so much more. And I mentioned that, God doesn't always show you that more for a reason, because if he would have showed me that more at that time, like the more that I'm in right now, right, I would have been like, what? No. Okay. No, all right, whatever. Because the how is way too big for us to figure out. Right. And the how can keep us from getting there. So he just gives you step by step. You get there by levels. You don't go from just this worship leader who does not talk, she only sings, to a publishing house owner who is on a podcast talking about herself. No. You can't go from there to there in a day or a year, really. I mean, I'm sure somebody can, but that would not have been my journey. But it's those steps that God takes you on. And I know how, you said, first of all, y'all, I'm not perfect. And I know, the way that Pamela talks about me just sounds like I'm the most loyal person. I do everything that I'm told. No, I am one of the most stubborn people I know. Other than my one son, who is a little more stubborn than I am, but he gets it from his mother. Okay. I like to be well informed. I like to know why I'm doing things. However, you come across people in your life that as you get to know them, you know where they're connected this way, right? Yeah. And you learn that, first of all, they're not going to speak that word to you unless they know exactly where it's coming from. So it's easier to listen to that voice. But if you have that connection as well, this way, up and down, you and God, for those who are listening, not watching, if you have that connection, that person can speak into you and immediately you have that resonate in you, right? You either have that resonate with you or it hits you and you're like, nah, I don't think so. I don't know if you've ever gone to a prophetic conference, had somebody speak something over you that was absolutely not it. Because guess what? They can be wrong.
True.
And because not all of them are speaking out of the right place. Some of the biggest people that claim to be prophetic and aren't always in the right mind space. Yeah. Not always where they should be. And I've had stuff spoken over me that didn't resonate. I've been in the church since I was a baby. Okay. I was in the Pentecostal church. So there was words thrown everywhere in a Pentecostal church. Good grief. Right. For the dumbest things. And I'm not saying there's anything bad about the Pentecostal church, but there was a point in the Pentecostal movement when it was just a little crazy. And I was in the church at that time. I mean, falling asleep underneath the what are they called? The pews, because we were in church all freaking night till the morning or for days, whatever. And, but there was times when things get spoken over to you and you take it in and you think, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be. And to be honest, one of those words led me down the wrong way because I had in my brain, this is what I have to be one day. And I ended up being that, but it wasn't where I was supposed to be. I eventually was that in the right place, but that's a whole nother story. I don't know why that came out. But you have to be connected your own way to realize what those words are and what they aren't.
That's good.
And you cannot take those in without that prayer. But these last couple years, going from being the pastor's assistant, creating, all the events we created in church, yes. And we had a blast. And, we had the women's events, we had Christmas, we had all these things, right?
Yep.
Being the youth pastor's wife, creating stuff for the kids, all the things. And then, we knew a couple years before you stepped out and up. I knew before that you were stepping out and up. And we just had that conversation ourselves when we were in Arizona. And that's when I got that word. Yeah. And then it just coming to, COVID happened and it just grew something, which I've heard a lot more stories about things growing out of that shutdown, yeah. Which is amazing. But we She's going to come visit now. She needs snuggles. But I think it's because we prayed about it a lot. If it didn't feel right, we didn't do it. There were some things that in the middle of it didn't feel right. But I think God protected us even in those minutes, in those moments of when we were in the middle of a project and it just started wasn't going the way it should have gone because of bad intentions. God always took care of it.
Yes.
But even when we were in the church and we'd had those bad moments, like we were developing such a great mentee mentor, but we were also developing a friendship, but we were getting really close. Sure. And there were at least 2 or 3, if not 3 or 4 times where when we were getting really gel, something would happen that would break that. And it took maybe after the second time, and I recognized it for what it was. And it was the enemy going, these two cannot be together. Because he knew where it was headed. So constantly, I mean, we fought to be the partnership that we were.
True.
And we did. It was not an easy path to where we are today. We had plenty of things thrown at us. And to me, that's when you know that it's an absolute and it's what needs to happen. Right. And some of the book projects that we've done have been struggles. Yeah. But they were the book projects that were unbelievable. And I always say that. I'm like, well, there's a reason this is taking forever. You know, it's because this is going to be amazing. But like you said, you have always, and I know this, there are times when we've been working together and you're just like, we were both in not the greatest financial situations, but the prayer situation was always solid.
Always.
And I always knew that the money always shows up when it needs to. Yeah. And it always did. And it always does. And I always knew you were praying for more for me. You knew that prophecy, that's so much more. And it does. And it's just slowly growing, and you've been my biggest cheerleader. And I love that. And it's so, our relationship is like, it's so funny because people are like, well, how do you know Pamela? And it's like, well, or if I have to introduce you, it's like, okay, what the heck do I call her this time? Where are we? Where are we? How am I introducing her? Well, she's my friend. She's my mentor. She's my pastor. She's my, so it's like, I have a list. And it's like, confidant, my sister, it's just, we have a unique relationship. And I know if I called her, she'd be there. I mean, she has been, this past year has been crazy with my mom, and I called her and I was out of town and she was there. And it was, I know she's one I can do that with. And those are rarities, at least in my life. I have a very closed circle of friends because it's hard to trust people and it's hard to do that. But yeah, it's just been, I sit and I think about it, and I don't know, I don't have words for the things that have gone on this year. Because on one hand, it's been a mess. Because of dealing with everything with my mom and her being sick and her passing away and all of that. And that part has been stressed to the max. On the other hand, everything has gone up and up and up and up, right? Amen. So there's been increase in my business, and I've gained podcast people. I've have more authors. I've got a handful of books that are coming out like within the next 3 months. So it's all increase.
Yes.
and blessing.
Mm.
So it's like, it's sometimes just like, I'm not sure how to feel because on one hand, I've lost my mom, but on the other hand, she was so sick and she needed to go to heaven to be whole and to be happy. And I'm so blessed that she's happy and whole. But I miss my mom.
Yeah.
But now mom's happy and whole and I can go do this. And I know mom's going to be watching me do every piece of it and going to be my literally center stage right behind me the whole time.
Absolutely.
So it's just, this year has just been crazy. And I'm so excited for this next year, or for this year now. And I'm going to be not global, but yes, global. I mean, I have the opportunity. I'm going to Canada in February. I mean, literally for a day, but it's for a book launch. I have the opportunity to go to Australia. I have the opportunity to go to Germany. So it's like, what? And I can do those things without worrying about what's going on at home. Now, yes, I have my kids at home, but they're healthy and whole, and I don't have to worry about them.
Right.
So it's crazy to think about things I never thought I'd do. I never thought I was going to really leave the U.S. I mean, yeah, I'd love to go here, there. Okay, whatever. But am I really going to do it? But now I'm going for business and I'm going to get to enjoy it. So
Yes.
God's amazing. And it's just because I listen, which seems easy, but it's not. It's challenging because you hear stuff and you want to go, how?
Yeah.
That's not possible, but, and I have my tagline on all my emails is nothing is impossible. And that's been there for 15 years, I think. And I actually had somebody email me back one day and some things are impossible.
Oh.
And it caught me off guard. And I'm like, and I don't even remember what I said back to them because it wasn't me that said it, but I emailed them back something. But I'm like, no, not. Yes, in your human eyes, yeah, things are impossible. But with God, nothing's impossible.
Amen.
If we try to figure it out, absolutely it's impossible. But sometimes it's not easy though. And that's what you have to really look at. And I've been so grateful to the people that have come into my life. And a lot of them have been through you. And yeah, I've had other mentors. I've gotten to sit with John Tallarico and have him pour into me. I've met Les Brown. Some of the people that I've sat with just this past year and a half has been just, okay, this is my reality. And I don't take that for granted. I just don't. I take all that in and I realize that I am it's a privilege to be in the company of the people that I get to meet and then in the places that I get to go. And I'll never take that for granted. And I take it in and I enjoy those moments and in the places I get to go, I take it in. I don't do the whole, oh my gosh, this is so, I'm one of those people that I just sit down and look around. And I'm just like, this is amazing. Okay. I did that with the last time we were in Toronto. We went up in what is that called? The
CN Tower?
Yes. That in the CN Tower. And everybody's looking out the windows. And I looked out the window. I looked down too many times and then I was done. But that's really high. But I sat down and I just sat there and, you can look, when you look out the window from sitting, you look forever.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there and it was amazing to me. And I just sat there and just, talked to God and just thought about where I was and why. And, those are the moments that I enjoy is just those moments of reflection. And I try to do that as often. So I'm present in that moment. Right. Yeah.
I think that's huge. Being present.
Yeah.
Is a big deal that you were in those moments and you allowed yourself, we can oh, this is here. Oh, this, I mean, yeah, get excited. That's wonderful too.
Yeah.
But to actually, sometimes we don't celebrate those moments. Like we
Right.
don't sit in them and go, oh my gosh, I'm in the CNN tower. Right. Like you don't do that. Being in Guatemala recently, there was a number of times where I just stopped in that moment, like freeze frame.
Yeah.
And just look around and realize what God has done and understand that it's all him, but there are things that he has asked us to do. And that in being faithful to doing that, it's like, if you're going to go to, we live in Minnesota. So if you're going to go to Duluth, which is north of the Twin Cities, okay, you don't get on the interstate going south.
Right.
You can. And it might take you a long time, depending upon how far you go south before you go north, right? But if you just get on the right interstate and you go the right direction, it's faster. You get there faster, right? So, Dr. Nichol, what has God taught you about faithfulness to what he's asked you to do in order to accomplish the call of God on your life? I know that's like a big statement, but what would you say to people that are going, well, I have this vision, but I don't exactly know like where to start or what to do, because you've been there, you've walked it. And so fulfilling that call, we all start somewhere or pick it back up somewhere. So what do you have to say to somebody out there today that's like, what's this faithfulness stuff all about?
So and I'm awful at quoting verses, but there's a write it down and keep it. What is it? Write it down and keep it something.
Habakkuk 2, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I literally write things down. I bought 5 new notebooks. 3 of them are strictly for my business notes. The other 2 are for my thoughts, my ideas, my everything.
Nice.
And I often say if I don't write it down, it's not happening. That's for my notes as well as planning. But I was just talking with Claudine Hicks. I'm going to be on her show's going to end. I think I'm on the 30th of January is when that show ends. But we were talking about being in your purpose and staying in it and how to do that and everything. And honestly, once you know what that is and once you know what God wants you to do, it's the hardest thing to do is to stay in it, to be honest. But the biggest thing you have to do, other than staying in the Bible and staying in your prayer life, staying in that connection with God, is you have to surround yourself with people that, first of all, keep you connected, help you keep that connection.
That's good.
The people that will pray for you, but they also have to understand what your purpose is. You have to have people in your life that aren't going to encroach on your purpose.
That's
people
good.
that understand your purpose, where you're going and what you want to do and believe in it. And because there are going to be many people, once you have your purpose, you will find a lot of people that don't like your purpose or don't understand your purpose.
Got it.
And even if you explain it to them, they don't understand it or they can poke holes into your purpose. And it's not because there's something wrong with your purpose. It's just they can't see it. They can't see that vision. And those are the people that, although you may not need to cut them off, but they're the people that you can't share that vision with.
That's good.
Because they're going to try to change your mind or show you all the 500 reasons why it won't work.
Right? Yeah.
And trust me, and you've already been through those reasons, so they don't need to tell you. Or the devil's going to yell those reasons at you anyway. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is writing them down. That's huge for me. Writing them down and really focusing on those and right? And do a pros and cons list if that's the type of mindset you have.
That's
do
good.
it. And then look at those cons and go, are they really? And really look at them and says, okay, so what if this happens? Does this really matter in the grand scheme of life? No, probably not. Because this is the other side of that con. If this happens, that's amazing. So it's worth it. And just really doing that. And then, like I said, surrounding yourself with people that will support that. And the naysayers, like I said, you don't have to cut them off, but you do have to mute them from getting in. That doesn't mean they don't always stop talking. But I mean, and some of them you can't just cut off because a lot of, some of them's family and they don't know how to support you.
True.
So you either help them learn how to support you, or if they just can't, it's just not in them to support your vision and your dreams, then you just go. And you know that God's got you. God made the plan. He made your purpose. So you just go.
Yeah.
And it's not being selfish. That's the hardest thing for me to learn. That was the hardest thing for me to learn. That it's not selfish to push forward as long as I know it's what God wants me to do. That was my hardest thing. Yeah.
That is so powerful, what you just said, that it's not selfish to push forward. That's a mic drop moment. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
It is not selfish to push forward. So how are you pushing forward with 2026 and so much more?
Holy cow. Well, like I mentioned, we did just partner. I have this amazing partner, Trina Scoggins.
Yeah.
Which you and I prayed him here for sure for years.
Yes.
We always wanted somebody to help us market these beautiful books. And it's just not something, it's not part of my purpose. My purpose is to make the books. After that, I was done. But my desire was always to take those books and them be massive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's where Trueness comes in. And after working with him for a year and a half, we just gel. I mean, he was an absolute godsend. I love him to death. One of these days I'll meet his wife because she just never can come along on the trips because they are raising their grandson. But we've partnered up. We've made an alliance. We're literally calling it an alliance, but we actually have a publishing house now that has full publishing and marketing arms. And it's exciting and it's crazy. But yeah, I cannot wait. Our first book that we're actually launching is his book, which he's been writing. He was supposed to write it last year and it wasn't done. But he finally got it all out. I finally have it in my inbox, and I started reading it. But we just have book after book that's lined up to come out for the next couple months, and I know there'll be so many more. And I'm so excited to launch them, but I'm excited to just see what happens and who comes next. And we've got books like former Olympians. We've got Trueness, and we've got people from Canada, and it's just in Australia, and Australia's been huge. The last book that we did from the stories series, it's still blowing up in Australia. It's just, I am over the moon and overwhelmed and all the things. I mean, we purposely took December off, and I'm so glad we did, like from books, not launching anything. And I'm so glad we did, because I almost needed like a decompression state.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know why, because we were putting this other one together. So I'm just, and growing. I've added 2 podcast people. I think I'm up to 6 podcasts now, really 8, but there's 2 that aren't active right now. And just editing their stories and getting their stuff out there as well. And it's just, I cannot wait to see what the end of this year looks like. I can't imagine looking back to this point at the end of this year. And the years fly by like they do. I'm just like, wait, slow down. I want to enjoy this. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
I plan to take in every moment. We did New York City, and
Yeah.
I stood in Times Square and just stood there, and I was like, this is crazy. And we had a billboard in Times
Yes.
Square with our authors on it, and I'm just standing there and looking at that, going,
Mm.
well, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I literally made a billboard that was in Times Square.
Times
I
Square.
was like, and some people are like, oh, you can do that easy. Well, yeah, but I don't care. I have my books on a billboard,
Right.
and it wasn't, and that one wasn't expensive. We paid a lot to do one over Christmas, but for one of our authors, but there's just so many things I've learned this year, and I cannot wait to take it in to this year now. I mean, last year. So many things I learned last year. It's it's only the second year of this year, so or the second day of this year. But I just can't imagine, and I try not to. So the so much more, I try not to even kind of think what that could be, because I don't. I'll take it as the day goes. I really do. And there's some days Trueness calls me with his ideas. He's a type A completely. And he'll call me, and by the time we're done, he's got 6 new things. And I'm just like, okay, that's usually a lot of times that's all I get out. Okay. Because I get off the phone and go, what did he just say? I need to start recording our phone calls because he unloads so much, and it's like, okay, what are we doing? But I mean, I love the way his mind works, because he's a go-getter, and and that's why we're teamed up, because he's got the ideas and I've got the way to do it. So I'm excited for our authors. I'm excited for all the ones that come in, the ones we have now, and it's going to be an amazing year, and I'm ready to get it going.
Ready to go.
Yes.
So my takeaways here from what you're saying is you were faithful with what God told you to put your hand to the plow to.
Yep.
You didn't necessarily have the vision of being an editor, meaning like of the podcast, or a publisher or a publishing house.
Right.
But as the opportunity came, you took it. Yep. You were faithful, whether it was leading worship or helping with youth ministry, or it was, helping little old me over here. You were faithful to what God told you. But Ian Harvey, one of my mentors, said to me, when God brings you an opportunity, you say yes.
Yeah.
And so as opportunities came, they were aligned to your giftings. So yes. God didn't come to me and ask me to be a publisher. He aligned me with a publisher.
Yeah.
And a publisher I could pray for. But Nichol had those giftings. They were there. And her gifting and editing, and again, what I'm saying, we're not talking like graphics and editing podcasts, she's so good at it. So the opportunities came and you said yes. You stepped in. Joyce Meyer says, turn the doorknob and see if the door opens. You walked in, and then you were faithful in those places and gave God the glory. Like, I'll do what I need to do while I'm here, but I know where this came from.
Yeah.
And I know Nichol said, imagine. I can't even imagine. Yes, we are supposed to imagine. Yes, we're supposed to dream big. And she's a dreamer, and she dreams and she imagines, but what we dream, Ephesians 3:20 says, is even if our, like this, like I'm taking up the whole screen here, like we dream this big, my hands are going to disappear now because God's out here. Right. So you allowed yourself to dream.
Yeah.
But when God all of a sudden was saying, New York Times Square, right? You were like, okay, and you were faithful to do it. And so I'm taking away from our time today that, as you step into that 2026, and we're already there, and what God has promised you, allow yourself to sit in it. I like how Dr. Nichol said she reflected. She became present in it. See yourself there. Maybe she didn't see herself in Times Square, but she saw herself publishing, right? So see yourself there. I can remember Allison Stevens from my former, well, she's not my former. I don't sell Mary Kay anymore, but she's my Mary Kay director. And I asked her, how did you imagine yourself ever living in Arizona? Because she was up here in Minnesota. And she said, I'd close my eyes and I'd see my husband sitting on the patio reading a book. And it was sunny and warm. And I knew it was Arizona. And that was the visual that she had that ended up blowing up from here to here, right? And so what God gives you in your heart, ponder that like Mary, like just sit in that. And we're supposed to use our imagination. It's our gift to do that. We're supposed to dream big, like Ephesians says. And so Nichol saw herself doing these things. But when God did this and she's on the in tower elevator, or this, and she's in New York City, or this, and she's like, I see myself in Australia. I don't have any idea how that's going to happen, but I see it. All of a sudden, she's going to be in Sydney, right? And God does these things. So that's what my takeaway is for all of you that are watching. Be faithful where God has placed you. If there's mentors or people that you're assisting, whatever, be faithful there and dream and say yes and let God do this and give him all the glory, because he's not going to do this if it's all about self. But when it's about him, he does this because he knows you're going to give the glory and he's going to get the glory, and then he can do it again. And so that's my takeaway of what you just shared, Dr. Ann. That's beautiful. So anybody out there that wants to get in touch with you for editing a podcast or a TV show or books, how do they find you?
I will put my link tree in the description. It's got all the things on there.
Perfect. So look in the description, everybody, and it is in there. And reach out to this lady because she's just nothing short of amazing. There's a statement. It's a kind of an old one that says, "Isn't she a little bit of terrific?" And so I love that little bit of terrific, but I'll tell you that Dr. Nichol is all terrific. So she's not just a little bit of terrific. She's all terrific. Dr. Nichol, so much more.
Right.
So much more to come. Thank you. And let's do this again in like another month and talk about what God is doing. And you can share more about what's going on at the publishing house and what things God has us doing together. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Yep, you are here on purpose, with a purpose by design, not by default. So go out there and be the salt and the light. Keep doing it everywhere you go. Say yes, be faithful, dream big, and see it, as Bob Proctor says, see it happening now. Andrew Womack says that same thing, by the way. So Andrew Womack says, use that God-given gift. See it done. Jesus said, it is finished. Amen. So we call things that be not as though they were. So I'm going to say right now that this podcast today is going to go viral. That's what I'm going to say, because you out there are going to like it and share it. And you're going to subscribe and comment and all of that fun stuff. So send this to somebody who needs it. And Happy New Year. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for Purpose by Design with Dr. Pamela Henkel. You can learn more about Dr. Pamela and her world at purposewithpamela.com. See you next time on Purpose by Design.